having an estate sale, and it's going to start tomorrow.
It's going to be a big one. He's one of the pioneers of rock and roll. He's saying Great Balls of Fire, a whole lot of shaking going on, and he's selling some of his personal items at his North Mississippi ranch.
Fox 13's Scott Mattis was invited to the Killer's home in Nesbitt. He joins us live on Beale at his club with this amazing story, Scott.
Well, good evening, Merle and Jim. When I first saw this online on Facebook, I thought it was fake, but it's not. Jerry Lee Lewis, the Killer, one of the kings of rock and roll. So many say, well, he's selling some of his personal items, and get this, I bought one today, and after you see this, I bet you'll want to as well.
You shake my nerves and you rattle.
Jerry Lee Lewis,
Drive a man insane.
one of the biggest names in rock and roll history.
Goodness and grace is great ball of fire.
But walk through the gates of Jerry Lee Lewis's North Mississippi home and you'll find, aside from a heavily guarded property, a warehouse filled to the brim with the Killer's personal items. And starting Friday, they could be yours.
We have some things, you know, like the coat and other things that would do really well at auction. He just doesn't want to do that, you know. He's a humble man. What he can get for it, he'll get for it. If he can't, then we'll keep it.
Believably, Jerry Lee Lewis has amassed a mountain of success over the last 50 years and even more belongings. And unbelievably, Lewis is having an estate sale where he'll be selling some of his most personal possessions.
We're 100 feet from the front door.
Right.
That's where it came from.
Inside the warehouse, you'll first notice a gleaming white suit, but this is not just your average slacks and jacket.
This is a show coat worn by Dad, Jerry Lee Lewis, during a tribute show of the class of '55. Him, Roy Orbison, Johnny Cash, Carl Perkins, all on stage together.
Personally monogrammed and worn sweaters also line the warehouse, plus personal records, autographed pictures, and this, a sales receipt. But again, not just any sales receipt.
Right here, you have the Natchez Adams County Airport a receipt for when Dad bought jet fuel for his airplane.
Continue walking and you'll find even more items from Jerry Lee Lewis's home. And then you'll come to this. This is a barber's chair. The Killer's personal chair where Jerry Lee Lewis has had his hair cut for decades.
Dad wanted a barber chair in his room, and they brought it in, and the rest is history.
Continue the tour and you'll find countless cups and assorted kitchen items, including his personal coffee maker.
Like Jerry Lee Lewis's Keurig, right here. You can own it.
But there's one more thing I wanted to show you, and while I can't pick a favorite, this is definitely in my top 3. Yeah, I mean, how many people can say, I've got Jerry Lee Lewis's?
Yeah, like exactly, like he has eaten breakfast here, he's eaten dinner here, he's had a casual drink in the kitchen. Like, for me, as his son, and I think I'm one of his biggest fans, like, I don't see how you get much better than something like this.
You don't. You don't. I don't see how you can get any better than that. Merle, Jim, there was also one of his beds that he's had up until recently, until he decided to get a brand new bed. That's going to be for sale. Of course, that white suit that he wore on stage with Carl Perkins and Johnny Cash as the $1 Million Quartet. The only member missing, of course, was the late Elvis Presley when they had that concert. But so many things I know so many people would like to get their hands on.
And one of the things that we were talking about here is looking at that video, the file video that you showed. He was a master on the piano.
Unbelievable. I mean, there's so many words, there's so many phrases, there's so many things that you can say about Jerry Lee Lewis. You know, rock and roll, 50 years. He's been one of the pioneers since the very beginning. Merle, Jim, I'll never forget when I first moved to Memphis. It was right around Memphis in May time. I pulled up very close to where I live downtown, and he was on stage. I stopped, I called my dad, and I said, listen to this. It's Jerry Lee Lewis, and he lives in our own backyard. Merle, Jim.
Thank you so much, Scott. Very nice.